Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 515. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Corey Feinsod.
Yo.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Hello.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners, to 515 of the Gamecast. Whew. So, as we were discussing just before this episode started, I've played a little bit of Tsushima. I had it installed. I didn't actually have my PlayStation up to date, so I had to do that first yesterday. There's a whole bunch of stuff. And finally, when I got to playing it, I played it for it's probably about not even an hour. It's probably like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and I stopped. Not only that, because my controller was almost dead. So I had to go plug it in. And I'm just like, okay, this is not happening. But as we were just discussing, I know the patch was also coming out soon. And so it's like, do I just hold off for that and get the better version of this game? Because they're going to put in that whole armor system thing where I can swap it in and out, or do I wait? I mean, do I play it? That's. I mean, I guess I can start playing it because how soon does the armor thing come into it?
I would say you would need a fair amount of armor before it makes much of a difference.
Yeah, you could probably play the first area.
Yeah, I could probably get into it. By the time that patch comes out next week, I'll be just that point probably, and I can get going with it. So, all right, that's what I might do. But that's for me, game wise. That's all I've gotten to play this week. I watched a lot of shows. Caught up, like I said, on the movie cast, called up the boys. I would like to say, man, I got some awesome stuff collectible wise. I gotta share. It's like a show and tell, guys. I gotta share this stuff. Like, I'm holding some amazing toys here. If you're watching the video, this. Yeah, I mean, there's some awesome stuff I found at Walmart.
The Masters of the Universe.
Yeah. I was always a big fan of He-Man. That was my thing. Like that's like Tony's Transformers. He-Man was my thing. I've got the different characters. I went. Walmart was a great run.
The power of Grayskull.
Yeah. So I'm like, I have them set up around my desk right now, and it's a really cool like nostalgia surrounding thing. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I had to share that real quick. But that's game wise. That's it for me, and no more show and tell. So, Tony, what have you been playing?
Let's see. I had a game in my Steam backlog that I was like, you know what? It's about time I play this. That game is Slay the Spire. I'm not sure if you heard about it, but it's a roguelike
deck
building card game.
I think it was on Game Pass.
Was it? Yeah, it probably was.
That's when I played it when it was on Game Pass.
Yeah. It's so good. I love this freaking game so much. I played so much of it. It's really cool because it's all turn-based, so you could take your time, really analyze it. Because, I guess think of it like almost something like Magic or Hearthstone, where you have unique characters and they have different, builds, like a barbarian build or, like, a stealth assassin build, the ninja, or, like, a robot that has, these, little orbs that will do different, magical stuff. And then as you defeat monsters, you climb this tower and you get other cards. Spire.
Tony,
yeah,
Spire.
Sorry. But as you climb the spire, you draft other cards to put in your deck. And of course, there's synergies and combos and other things. And it can get really challenging because sometimes you're just like, what the fuck do you want me to do about this enemy or this boss or something like that? Mm-hmm. So it's really fun, really rewarding. Put a lot of time into that. And then the other game I played is another, I want to say, underground sensation that's just starting to break out called Phasmophobia. Not sure if you heard about that, but it's this PC-only early access build game where you and up to 3 other players play as ghost hunters. Mm-hmm. And in terms of ghost hunter, I'm talking reality TV show, kind of we're going to go to this location and try to film a ghost or something like that. And it sounds dumb. It really does. The premise, I was like, I don't know about this, boys. Because they're like, you should get and play with us. I was like, I don't know. But there's some really unique features about it. So first of all, there's 2 different voice chats utilized by the game. And they actually tell you not to use a party chat, like a Discord or something like that. They'll use the in-game chat because there's 2 features. There's local or proximity voice, where if you're in the same room or general vicinity, you can hear people. Or you have walkie-talkie talk and stuff like that. So you're like, oh, why would you ever use, one or the other and stuff like that? Well, the thing is, you start out at houses, but you can explore things like hospitals or schools or, whatever, where you have to cover a lot of ground. And, you're obviously not going to be near people. So you have to rely on your walkie-talkie for communication. But ghosts can fuck with you and like mess up your walkie-talkie communications and stuff like that. And in this game, you're like pretty vulnerable. It's not like you're gonna fight a ghost or anything like that. But anyway, going back to the game. So the game is you pick a mission, like a spot to whatever, and then you have to load up the van with whatever items that you've purchased on your character and stuff like that. And then you go out to the location. You have like this van that has like all these monitors and equipment and stuff like that for monitoring like sanity. You can set like video cameras to like catch stuff and whatnot. And then you have to like explore the whatever location. And depending on the difficulty they play as, you have like, I think on amateur, the easiest difficulty, you have like 5 minutes of safety where like the ghost won't attack you or anything like that. But after that 5 minute period, it's just like,
Mic drop.
The ghost got him. The ghost got him. But
yeah.
Good timing.
after those 5 minutes,
Yeah.
it's all over. It's like anything goes. So the one cool thing is, in the game, they tell you, they're like, hey, this is the spirit's name that we believe it is, and you say like John Doe or something like that. So you go, and then you go into the location, and one person can get like this item called the spirit box, and you could talk to the spirit using, you know, your local chat for it and be like, John Doe, are you in this room or something like that? And like you might hear something, you might not, and stuff like that. And it could tell you stuff. But after a couple, like the longer you stay in at the haunting location, the angrier the spirits get at you, and will start like fucking with you, like throwing shit at you, or like turning the lights off and on, closing doors, you know, whatever, like typical spooky shit and stuff like that. So your job as ghost hunters is to get like photographic or video evidence of, you know, poltergeist and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's like, oh, capture you. We want you to capture a picture of the spirit. We want you to catch a picture of like, I don't know, like where they died or something like that. And you have to go and do that to get money to buy better equipment and stuff like that. But it's just a really cool experience because it's like totally unique and stuff like that. It's made by one person too. One person.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And yeah,
it's $14 on Steam right now.
Yeah, $14.
Early,
So
cool.
early access.
What was it called again?
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia.
Yeah.
PHASMOPHOBIA.
But it's really picking up in the Twitch community because people are obviously playing it together and stuff like that.
I mean, it's that time of year, right? We're in October.
Yeah, no, that's why I got it. I was like, wait a second.
Scratch that itch.
And the thing is, like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was a little spooky at times because, like,
those lights out and
yeah, like.
But that sounds cool. Like you mentioned earlier with the voice stuff, and like I always like, you know, those like squad-based games where it's like you get closer to someone, you can talk to them, but then like you have the radio stuff where I always found that pretty neat, and utilizing that here in a more of a horror-based thriller suspense thing, that would be interesting because you could be like just like sneaking around somewhere and someone could just come up behind you, be like, are you all right? And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, don't sneak up behind me.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing too is like there's I don't know, I want to say probably like 10 ghosts or something like that. So as you're getting clues, like different ghosts have different properties and they'll fuck with you in different ways. So like only some ghosts will like physically throw stuff at you. Some ghosts will like kill your sanity meter way faster than whatever, stuff like that. So the thing is, like, you have to really balance like staying inside the house and going back to the van to like refresh and recharge and stuff like that, because you could be like, oh shit, my sanity meter's like at 10%, and if you reach zero, you're dead. So
wow,
stuff like that. We saw our one friend, he was taunting the ghost that was one of the more aggressive ones by like, he was just saying her name over and over, like, blah blah blah, you're a coward. Not a coward, but he was using inappropriate words and stuff like that. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, she's here, and we're like, dude, we don't see her at all, what are you talking about? Next thing we know, like, his character's like floating in the air and like gasping for breath and stuff like that. Like, we just saw this invisible ghost just choke him out and his lifeless body just hit the ground. I'm just like, okay, well, we'll get a picture of it, I guess, and we're gonna go. Yeah, and that's what it was. So
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool. I recommend checking a video out, like a stream.
Yeah, I think I'll check that out. Actually, that sounds cool. It's a good time of year for it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right, Corey.
Yeah, so I've been playing mostly board games, and there's one that I want to talk about actually because it's based off a video game, and I played Frostpunk, the board game, online tabletop simulator, because it's not actually out yet. It's on Kickstarter at the moment. It's doing very well there, but so it's Frostpunk. If you don't know, is a video game that was a survival game where you just basically try to survive as long as possible. The premise is it's the last city on Earth. It's a frozen tundra, and there's this big generator in the middle of the city that heats the city to keep everybody warm. And so, like in the board game, that's a very big aspect of the game. You need to start this, generator every round, and then you have to go out and get resources to power the generator, and you have to make decisions based on basically you're the leaders of this society, and you have to figure out how to survive in this like frozen tundra, and not everybody's going to survive. So you need to really think about the good of the many and those kinds of decisions. And there's different laws and directions you can go to influence the way that your civilization is going to progress in the board game. And so I played that, and there's a lot of moving parts to it, but like the most fun part of this game is the interaction between your friends and the people you're playing with, because you may have this whole plan, like, all right, this is what we need to do this turn, and then someone else be like, what are you talking about? Like, we need more people to work. We need to send the kids out, start gathering resources, because we need to get more coal to start this generator, or we're all gonna freeze to death. And then someone else be like, but they're kids, man. You can't send kids. It's like child labor. What are you talking about? So there's actually a law that you can enact where you can force kids to work, or you can build them a shelter to kind of keep them out of the way, to make them stay safe. And then so we were able to come to the decision to build the shelter, keep the kids out of the workforce, and we're going to do things ourselves. But later on in the game, the kids needed to learn. We needed to educate them because they didn't know what they were doing. So at one point, we had to send our workers to educate these kids now, and so that we didn't have these workers to go out to get the resources. So it was like they could have learned on the job, but now we're actually spending more workers to go put them in school and stuff. So it's interesting how different the choices interact and become either beneficial or not.
So did the kids work out then, or no?
Oh, no. I mean, they just took our resource away and we froze to death. I mean, that's the end of the story. we couldn't gather the resources to get the coal. So, but
some kids.
But yeah, and there's like another storyline where this like woman's like writing all this really bad poetry, and she's making all the townsfolk like miserable because it's such bad poetry. And so you can decide to either kick her out, be like, get your poetry out of here, or you can ignore it, or you can like try to encourage her. And so we decided to, just let things run. We're gonna ignore her. She's gonna do her thing. And so she goes and steals all of our resources and runs away. And it's like, what the hell, woman? Like, we just let you do your poetry thing. And then she comes crawling back later in the game. It's just like all these things are happening, which is really unique. And it built this narrative that I wasn't expecting. And I thought this game looked much more like a solo experience. You'd be playing by yourself, like the video game. But it turned out like having all these other people, to communicate and make these decisions and argue over what we need to do with the resources, because everything's limited. I mean, the game is out to kill you, and so you need to do everything you can to survive. And it was a lot of fun. It was very long because we were learning it at the same time, but I'm definitely excited to play this again and try to succeed. There's 12 rounds you have to survive. We got to 10, so it wasn't too bad for our first time.
Cool. Yeah. All right, Mike.
So I actually decided to play another uncharacteristic game. I went through Game Pass here because I'm done with Yakuza and Tony Hawk and stuff like that.
That's what he picked. I love this intro. Let's see, where are you going?
Near?
No, I played.
Oh.
Wait. Before you say it, we gotta all give one guess here.
Okay.
So you said near. Not gonna be a sports game because you would play a sports game. I don't even know what's on Game Pass right now. Shoot.
I'm gonna go with Forza Horizon.
Okay, I was thinking it could be maybe a racing game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm thinking maybe like a platformer.
Figures.
I don't know. Oh, could be that
Alright.
too. All right, what do you got, Mike?
I started playing Witcher Thronebreaker, which is it's Gwent based, pretty much like.
Oh yeah, it's
old
their
school.
card game. That's right.
Yeah, old
Mike's playing
school. Yeah. I have it
Witcher
on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just saw it there as on Game Pass. I'm like, all right, let's see what this is like, because I remember my second playthrough, Witcher, I understood Gwent a little bit, although I still, to this very second, I still don't really understand how turns work in the game, but whatever. But I got to the point where I could play it and do it enough. I'm like, all right, let's see what this is, because it's sold as like a story-based game around like cards. It's this sort of like old school kind of like top down, almost isometric. Like you're wandering a map, almost like the World of Light part of Smash Brothers. That's the last thing I played that reminded me of that.
An overview.
And then you go, and every encounter is pretty much the game, except it's a little more complicated, obviously, Gwent, than it was in The Witcher. And they have lots of puzzles where there's really just, you're given a certain amount of specific cards and really one way to defeat a thing that's like prescribed. You have to figure it out. So, and I have it set to like super easy because I have a very loose handle on it. But I've kept playing it for a few hours now. I'm surprised. And
is the campaign interesting then? Like, is that what's keeping you invested? Is the storyline then?
I honestly not too much yet. It's you take control of her name. I don't, Maeve or something is her name. She's like the queen of Rivia and some adjacent fake place also that's not Rivia. I don't remember what it's called. And the story's quite uninteresting so far, but it's there, and we'll see if it changes. I just know that the MILF Guardians are coming, and they're bad, which I've known a lot about already.
You say MILF Guardians?
No, MILF. MILF. Not, the MILF Guardians, that's the porn parody of it.
You got to trademark that, Tony. That's perfect.
It's not the first time people have said MILF Guardians. But the story isn't that interesting. It's just I have it on dumb mode, easy mode, where I could skip any of the cards, the card battles, if I can't beat them. But I haven't done it yet because that's sort of why I'm playing it, is just kind of figure out all these puzzle aspects of it. So it's okay, and you do grab new cards. I don't know how long this is going to take me, but it's almost like I want to reacquaint myself with CD Projekt Red a little bit again, even though this is like obviously not their main thing. But I was surprised at how similar all the music is. It's like a lot of it is taken from the Witcher game, and even some of I forgot how like kind of funny all the like villager voice acting was in that game too. So it's interesting, but it's not a game I would have ever thought I would have played. But I'm in this sort of weird in between thing now with something like Cyberpunk looming in like a month and change. I don't know if I want to start anything bigger going into that. But
yeah,
we'll see.
All right. Let's get into the news, guys. Quick, well, not quick, but just came out today, actually. Level 5 is ending operations in North America today, shutting down their factories. I mean, obviously, it's crazy times right now. Level 5 does Ni no Kuni, Yokai Watch series. What else have they done? They've done... There's another big one they did, too.
Layton.
Yes, Professor Layton. Thank you. So, yeah, there's no plans to distribute their games outside of Japan now going forward. It's crazy thinking about that. So, there's a lot. I mean, like Ni no Kuni, the first one was so good. I don't really like the second one so much, but their first one was really good. The Professor Layton games are really good.
It's Level 5's MO though. Like they spend a lot of money and resources on the first game of a series to make people be like, oh wow, that looks cool. Let me buy that, and they just milk the shit out of it. Like, they had like 5 Yokai release, like one every year, and this is like, dude, it's like you're not Pokemon, you can't get away with it. You're not Call of Duty, you can't get away with that. Same thing with Professor Layton. Like they have so many games of that series. And I'm sure they would if they could have. Like they did, the base game. I think there's a DS version or something, right?
They did a remaster. I know that, but
no, they did a remaster. But there was one on DS or 3DS that never came out over here.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yep.
I don't know, but yeah. So they're shut down. What else do we have here? We have Fall Guys Season 2, the Sonic the Hedgehog skin. We had to talk about that. We had to talk about that in the chat. How weird that thing looks. Bizarre, right?
Yep.
Well, it's interesting because like in Fall Guys, you get costumes, and the costumes you can get are two parts. They're a top and a bottom. So normally that's fine because it's like you really don't necessarily notice the seam. But in this costume, they like make the seam very like noticeable. It's like I don't understand why would you do that. It's like if you got both pieces, just make it like one thing. But they have like these two things that just like plop together, so it looks like this weird Russian doll thing. Like you can just like pull apart, and so it's just weird. And then because of where the eyes are and how they have his like eye like the Sonic's skin eyes is eyes there. It's weird because it looks like it should be Sonic's eyes, but then it's the Fall Guy character's eyes, and it's just very odd. It's kind of creepy.
It's a weird.
It reminds me of like a Funko Pop.
Yeah, it looks creepy. It doesn't. No, even like I guess a Funko Pop that would be about right. Yeah, like it's a very bad, iteration of a Funko Pop. Really, I mean, even though some Funkos look a little better than that. So, but all right. Marvel's Avengers is not doing well, for those wondering. I don't know if we mentioned that last week, how bad that's doing. But like under 1,000 players on PC, sometimes concurrent players. Yes, concurrent players. That's what I meant. But so it's hard to find games on PC. The consoles apparently are like that too on certain days of the week. You can't really join games and stuff like that. Apparently, Crystal Dynamics studio head is very confident they're coming back with more content, but I think we talked about this last week where like no loot, like no costume changes on the loot, you're not going to get people back. I'm sorry. I think there's a major flaw with that game where if you didn't design it showing what people are gathering, what's the point?
Yeah, no, I mean the whole thing with these types of games as a service to bring people back to do the same thing over and over again is to power yourself up, to make yourself feel strong, and to look the part. Like that's the idea. Is
I
like,
want to show off. Like,
I look the same at level 1 as I do at level 20, and I'm fully spec'd out. Like what's the point then?
Well, they would argue that you would just use your in-game currency to buy their specific skins then. But I don't know how bad the drip feed is compared to just paying for those either. I don't know because I haven't cared to, but I do know, game they do just do the invisible loot to up your character's stats. So I kind of think maybe you could have both. I don't know why it has to be one or the other. Like
I mean, like look at how Injustice did it, because we're all like, how's this gonna work? But then it works because you get to make your own character in a way.
And I've actually argued with a few people about this because I really like the way Injustice worked, but they said, oh, you can't let people like mix and match stuff like that, that doesn't look like the character. Meanwhile, you have like Target sponsored Captain America who's as a skin here, and he looks absolutely ridiculous. And some of his skins, he looks like T-Mobile Captain America looks like Buzz Lightyear. It's completely like nonsense. I'm like, no one can mix and match and make it look any more off-brand than this anyway.
Didn't they release the official comic book skins finally? And they're like super expensive and they look great.
Yeah, probably. But so I don't know why people wouldn't want the freedom to, mix and match. Like that's one of the things I loved about Injustice. Is like you can like have your like Batman Beyond set up, just like change the mask to something else if you want that different, or add a cape to your Batman Beyond Batman. Like, and like that's something that it reminds me of like action figure collection, or like even mix matching and like stuff like that, or even like stuff like Legos or models, stuff like that. But that's why I think superhero characters are better suited for stuff like that. But they want to limit that. But also, again, I think the real incentive is just to make people pay for these skins to make the characters look cool. So, yeah, it's a mistake.
I mean, just like there's that feeling like you get when like you look at somebody and say, oh, he paid for that, like, or like, how did he get that? It's like a huge difference there. Like you can't really balance that. It's like if I see that from someone like the Hayabusa armor, it's like, oh shit, that guy worked for that. Where it's here, it's like,
that's right.
no, he just paid for it.
And again, like you could have both. Like actually, Injustice 2 had very limited, like specific, like what are they called, shaders, like tournament shaders, where you could only buy them just to make your stuff a certain color, and it was supposed to fund the tournaments. There was like 2 or 3 of those, but everything else was earnable in game, and like so you could have both. It's not impossible, but not obviously they can't come up with enough unique pieces or ways. Like they would have to totally redesign the entire game, I guess, to do that, and obviously,
I mean that's the thing. You can't fix that.
No.
So they don't have the resource. As Tony and I were saying, like when we were talking about on Discord, like they don't have the resources to put into it, like EA did with Anthem. And plus, they don't have the drive to do it because it's not their property. It's not like this isn't Final Fantasy. This is a licensed game that they have from another studio, like another company. So it's like, why would they invest like crazy to fix this problem when they could just move on to something else? I
mean, part of it is definitely investment.
I don't necessarily agree
also,
with that.
At the same time, it's just Crystal Dynamics sucks. I'm sorry. Like, I'm just going to say it. I think they're a shitty developer. Like, somehow they keep getting these franchises that are they're not qualified for. Like, even Tomb Raider. Like, Tomb Raider barely beat what I expected.
It regressed over and over every year, how bad it got, the game. Remember I said that every time we talked about the new version of it, they got worse at their game.
Yeah. So to go from Tomb Raider, which like, by the end of it, the third one was middling, and then you're going to take on Avengers? Really? Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck was anybody thinking? Like, I don't know who, because, I mean, again, Square Enix owns this company. I don't understand what they have to do before they're like, be gone. Just get fucking rid of them. Like, there's no way. I'm sorry. I just don't see a world where Avengers was profitable in terms of, like, it was worth their while. Like, in terms of, like, return on investment. Like, they spent, what, 6, 7, 8 years developing this title? However long, okay sales, maybe? Like, they haven't done one PR about this game's sales, which is super telling. And it came out in a dry month during COVID, when video game sales are fucking through the roof across the board, and not a peep, not a fucking peep, not even one PR.
They gave us broke-ass versions of the superheroes, and they make you pay for the better versions. And it's like, it's a complete cash grab from the start. It's all it is.
There's none of content. Yeah, it should have been delayed at least another year, it seems like.
I mean, sure, we could say that, but I just think the core design of the game from Crystal Dynamics just sucks.
Well, that's the problem, is that they were trying to make a Destiny game that they didn't want to give you the things that made Destiny fun. Like the things that made Destiny great was that you were getting loot, you were always getting new equipment that looked cool, that you could see on your character, and that was your character. Where Avengers, you are playing these specific characters, and they have their specific stages, and then they have the stages that everybody can be on. So then you're getting a really cool stage with your character, but then you're getting this generic random stage that doesn't matter what character you're playing as. And so it's like it changes. It just doesn't fit the style of game that for these characters, in my opinion. They should not have made a Destiny game with this set of characters. That's the problem.
No, if you're gonna do a Destiny-like game or an MMO game, whatever you want to call it, like you have to have your own personal investment into it. You have to have your own character. Like, I'm sorry, nobody is like, oh man, I can't wait to be one of like 1,000,000 Wolverines or 1,000,000 Captain America.
And if you do, you have to make sure that you can customize that character to be however you want them to look.
Like, right, literally every aspect, like color, arm, like it doesn't fucking matter if you want to be a neon green disgusting mess.
It can be exactly.
Let them
be Wolverine with.
That's how Injustice 2 was, and it's a fighting game. So part of the fun when you go online is just like, oh. Look at what this person did with their, Superman or their Batman. Like, you see stuff because of the combination of shaders and all the different gear parts that you would have never thought to do yourself, even though obviously there's a finite number of permutations, but there's really like thousands, 100,000s maybe. So you could be unique even if you were limited to a certain amount of like iconic characters. So here it's just like, oh, you bought that skin. That's cool, I guess.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's no fix to this. It's going to be more about if we ever get a game like this again from them that a loot-based system, you need to be able to show off that loot. I remember with Destiny, I wanted to show off that gun. Everybody could see it. You know what it was.
What blows my mind is I haven't played it at all, but I've heard from people who have that, the campaign is great, but you're only allowed to play it once. Like, you have no access to replay the campaign after you beat it, apparently.
I'm not like that, but I heard that all the characters are basically mediocre. Like, they're just all the same. There's no differentiating between the characters. They all have exactly the same move set.
I don't know. I've heard people
different.
say different things about that. I don't know that much about how the gameplay is. Some people seem to like the gameplay enough. It's just there's not enough to do after a while. But I don't know.
It's the Blah Avengers.
I do sort of. I am very skeptical, especially with some of the leaks about the new characters actually bringing anything to the table, especially since we have a lot of sort of copy paste.
That's the thing. Like Sony's exclusive Spider-Man character gonna mean jack and shit because it doesn't matter at that point.
It'll be interesting to see which of the current characters he plays like.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess Ms. Marvel. Yeah. All right, let's move into Sony. Ghost of Tsushima will play at 60 frames per second on PS5 via Game Boost, which is cool. Save transfers from PS4 to PS5 do support that game. That is happening because we've had some mixed messages on that. Which brings me to the next conversation of the PS4 camera needs to be used with PSVR and PS5 because the PS5 camera is not compatible with PSVR. So if you want... Now, I was reading online and
So what does this mean? They're giving up on VR? Is that what that means?
I mean, eventually they were going to. It's Sony. But I think
they're going to come out with another VR set that's going to be compatible with the PlayStation 5 camera.
Probably, but it's like... My thing is like I reading the comments on Matt Piscatella posted this, and it's just like the defending comments of this is ridiculous. Oh, so you just have to plug both cameras in? Hey, who the hell is going to do that? Like, I'm sorry, but if I want to, like, the PS5 camera is supposed to bring a whole bunch of new streaming better content streaming, which is more important than a PSVR camera. You should be able to just interchangeably use it back and forth to your PSVR. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous.
It doesn't make sense why you can't use the PS5 camera. Like,
That's what I mean. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why can't you just leave that plugged in and just use it for your PSVR? It's the same. It's a camera. It's a camera. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Hopefully, people
bitch newer technology. Also, it's like you're not going
better.
back. You're not going forwards. You're going backwards.
It's a better camera. Like, I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't know what they're doing with that. I don't know. Sony's been very peculiar with their PS5 to PS4 stuff. It's PS4 to PS5, sorry. Said that backwards. And this is one of those really, really peculiar things. Other news from them is, did you see the teardown of the system?
No, I don't give a shit.
Okay,
I know it happened. I don't look at it.
Okay. I am going to gripe. I like the fact that you can tear the shells off the sides. You can actually replace them. So if you want to do custom side things, you can actually customize your PS5. Kind of a cool idea. Remember that with the 360, where you can change the faceplate?
Nope.
You can kind of do that with the sides of your PS5. But to get to the expandable memory, you have to take those sides off.
So
your expandable memory slot. Is inside the PlayStation. You have to use a tool to get to it.
Tool.
Yeah, it's not like a memory card. You can't just like pop it in and out like we're going to see with the Xbox.
Now,
both of these systems are.
That to me it's not like something to get all. You're painted in a bunch of whatever.
No, but it's just like something that I'm like, why can't you just pop it in the system? You know, it's like, hey, here you go, memory card. That's what they are. They're memory cards. They're glorified. They're huge memory cards that cost $230 a piece, but they're memory cards.
This is
yeah. I mean, it's I mean, that's just a whatever thing for me. I don't care about that so much. Like, there's a lot more other issues I'd be worried about, like games.
Yeah, if that was the only issue, I'd be fine. I'd be like, okay, sure. Well, how many times am I going to change a memory card in my system?
Yeah.
But, man, more and more, I'm just thinking, like, you know what? I'm just waiting. It's a revision.
Get the redesign. Yeah.
It's piling list of things. It really is. So, let's see. Microsoft is reportedly, xCloud. Remember the xCloud drama with the iOS where they removed it from the App Store? So they're going to be streaming it to the browser now on iOS systems. So you can get your xCloud gaming done through that. That's how they're going to get around it from Apple.
Good.
No 30% profit share.
Well, we'll see about that. Apple's going to try to strong arm that.
I'm sure they will.
That's what they're doing with Epic. So.
And Lastly, Star Wars Squadrons came out, which I've heard a lot of people talking about. Very basic game, not much to it. It's $40, but there's no plans to release any more content to it. And I think the comment was, it's just terrible. The creative director says that the team's not planning to add more content. We think what we've basically paraphrasing, we provided $40 worth of content is essentially what he said.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. When buying the product, you have to know that it's a $40 product, and they don't plan on expanding on that. So
that's fine.
I don't know. I think that I don't think there's enough in there. I always saw them as growing this as like something that I don't know why, but I thought it was more like Battlefront kind of thing. I thought that was.
He never said that. He never said that.
I know, but I thought that's what we were going to get.
I don't know. When you have a modern game that most of it is going to online, you do expect something at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I just find that really peculiar. I expected some expansion, some additions, something in there with the multiplayer.
I mean, you would think that a game like that would be ripe for new ships or stuff like that, but
yeah,
whatever. I mean, I don't know anything about the game. I know that it's out. People seem to like it a bit, but it's not blowing anyone away either. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just try when it comes to Game Pass.
Yeah, I'll be playing it for free. Absolutely.
That's what happens with a lot of games now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the EA thing is coming to Game Pass, so
yeah.
Access, yeah. That's what I mean. So we'll get to play it. So it's already on there, isn't it? They didn't launch or not yet? Is it next week?
I think it's next month. I could be wrong.
I thought it was October. I'm sorry, I thought it was October. So.
I could be wrong. I just thought of for some reason.
Yeah. So. All right, that's it for the news, guys. Yeah, so we've got more and more next-gen stuff coming up. Hopefully a lot of this shakes out to where we can understand what's happening. And also, why you want a next-gen console. If you want to tell us why you personally want to go buy a next-gen console, email us, allyoucangeek@gmail.com. I want to hear from you because
you hate load times so much.
Listen, that is really cool technology. I will give them that 100%, but it's like I am the person that loves to buy these things launch day. I'm that kind of person. I love to do it, and I'm not doing it this year. It's not happening. I'm not excited for it. It just doesn't even feel like a new generation because it's like there's nothing for it, and we're not going to get anything for it till well into next year at this point. Not just like January next year. It's well into next year until we actually see these next gen games coming out. Like, do you honestly think we get God of War even next year?
No, hell no.
Do you think we get? No. Yeah. No. Did they give a date on Horizon yet?
No.
It's not going to be this year. Surprise, surprise! It's not happening. If you bought that hook, line, and sinker, it's not happening. Plus, you have your PlayStation 4.
I mean, hold on. Horizon apparently is again on the old, pretty much built on the old engines. I would think since it's also available on PS4. So
that's what I was just starting to say.
So I think that has a chance to actually.
Horizon has a chance next year for sure. Horizon, they actually had stuff to show. God of War had nothing.
But it's not the system seller because it's on the PS4 just like the Xbox has it on the PS4.
If they try to be stealthy about that still, but hopefully by then the demonstrable difference between the systems will be enough where it's like, I want the the real version, the PS5 version by then anyway. Kind of like how, I mean, it really wasn't a big difference, but when Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I think, was one of those cross-generational titles where it wasn't really exclusive. Or was that one exclusive actually, even though it was basically built on?
that was a cross-buy, that one.
Yeah. So we'll see if they can do that, but obviously you're going to need something exclusive. Or maybe people will just be silly and be like, all right, this is a new game, I need to get it on the new system.
Gotta get that remake of Demon Souls.
Yeah, I mean, and you could look at it like a computer, like you want to go out and buy the new graphics card when it comes out, and not many games take advantage of that off the bat, but I don't know. That's not a lot of people. That's not a lot of people that go out and buy that newest graphics card immediately when it comes out. I'm sorry. I understand that's kind of what they're going for now because you're going to be able to play your games and have a choice, but it's kind of a different impact, right? I mean, that's what it is. So, all right. That's going to wrap up 515 of the Gamecast. Thanks for tuning in. You can write us podcast at allyoucangeek.net. Right? Nope, sorry. allyoucangeek@gmail.com. allyoucangeek@gmail.com. And so you get into that routine. I said it right earlier. Follow us on Twitter, allyoucangeek. Like us on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe and that like button. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week.